wanted to share y'all today. I had a crazy encounter with Jesus, a real encounter, and it blew my mind. So my church has been doing this thing called 21 Days of Prayer, where every morning at 6 you get up and go to church, and it's prayer and fasting. Anyways, I've been focusing this 21 days on God using me and how I can adjust my life to whatever He needs done. And this morning, I I I can't explain it, but I was praying and praying for a provision, for what I need to be doing, how He can use me. And all of a sudden, I just get this urge, this feeling, the sincere feeling to go to the hospital that's just a couple miles down the road. I remember asking God throughout this whole experience, just give me a sign, like give me a vision of what I need to be doing with my life, because it feels like in my life right now, nothing is spelled out. None of the details is spelled out. And I know Jesus happens to work in ways that aren't spelled out. I mean, you look at stories in the Bible, it's understandable. But this morning, I felt the calling to go to the hospital, that I was going to talk to some people, someone in particular that was very, he was on his last limb. And let's say I did not know what to expect. I had no clue what I was doing, but I couldn't stop thinking about the hospital. I'm telling you, it started early, right as prayer started, and I couldn't pray about anything else the rest of the morning. I'm telling you, as soon as it hit 7 o'clock, I couldn't stop thinking about going to the hospital, and I kept on asking God for affirmation and making sure that this is from God, because I don't know if it's from my own voices, but the peace that came over me when I kept on praying about it affirmed me that it definitely was from God, and I need to act on this now. And I've been doing this book called Experience God, and the book is based off of when God talks to you, He doesn't want you to wait around. He wants you to go now. All right? Keep following with me. So I'm heading out. All right, get in my truck and I'm going to the hospital. All right? I still have this vision, but I'm starting to just get a lot of doubts in my brain. You know, I felt like the enemy was trying to get to me, telling like, you don't even know who you're going to talk to. You don't know who you're going to see. You don't even know if you can get in. What are you going to do? Get kicked out? You know, you're talking to random people. But I don't know what it was. I knew I had to go. Anyways, when I get there, all right, I wander around. All right, I've been wandering around for like 5 minutes. Shoot, I go use the restroom. All right, I come back and I have a prayer guidebook. I just start reading it because I'm looking around, I'm seeing people, but I'm not seeing what I need. Nothing's giving me like a calling to like, hey, this person needs it. 5 minutes later, I'm telling you, this guy walked in. He was very distraught. I could tell he was upset. He was going through a lot. Remind you, this is 7:30 in the morning, all right? He sits down, all right? He's waiting. He has cancer. I find that later on when I start talking to him. And I go up to him and, I spark a conversation. And I can't tell you how hard my heart was beating. It was beating so fast because when I met him, his eyes lit up. I'm telling you, the joy that he felt to someone just to come and talk to him. I didn't realize what he had been going through until I started talking to him. But man was battling some demons. So we get to talking. I can tell he's going through something. And he starts, just opening up to me. He really needed someone to talk to. And it just proves how much God's calling for you is so incredible. The radical encounter of how urgent he really needed me. Well, I'll tell you this. He was ready to take his own life. He was on his last thread. He had a daughter, and his daughter had abandoned him. And speak of mine, this man is homeless. He is very much needed, living paycheck to paycheck. If not, I could tell by his hands from like living outside, I think his hands were like chapped lips, but they're split open everywhere, like the wind had been just brutally crushing him. So his daughter had abandoned him, and the only reason he said he was still living was for his grandson. And after we got done really talking about his story, I introduced about Jesus to him, and he started tearing up. And I could tell he'd been distanced from him. It seemed like he had some sort of guilt, like God didn't love him. Someone just needed to tell him how much he is loved by someone. And I told him about Jesus, and he admitted to being a believer, but it seemed very lukewarm based off of how the world's treated him, even his own daughter. And that's a really normal thing in nowadays. A lot of times we want to blame God for the wickedness in the world. Yet that's because of sin. It's not because of God. And I start talking to him, and then we end up praying for him, and he starts, breaking down crying and really just lost. And I'm speaking to him. I'm praying over this prayer guide. It's lovely. Speaking a lot of healing prayers over him and provision, and just how much God loves him. And I'm telling you, he told me, I'm so thankful you came to me, because I have been needing this for so long. I haven't felt anyone in my life that actually feels like they care about me. God bless him. God bless Leroy. If y'all are watching this, I pray that we lift up Leroy. Pray for him. Pray for a healing over his cancer. I ended up giving him this book. I hope he's doing all right. I really wish I got his number so I could just talk to him more, and check up on him later. But when I got done talking to him, I could tell his day had been definitely changed. And as soon as I got back into my truck, I started bawling my eyes out. I started crying and crying and crying, and I couldn't help it. I just felt so much joy just making someone's day. And the feeling of, in the beginning, of not wanting to do it, the doubts being placed in my brain, it just reassured me more of how much the enemy tries to attack people that are trying to save the world and save people. See, the devil knows that he can't keep you from going to heaven, but he can render you saving more people and preaching the gospel, the truth of the one that cares for you so much that he died for you. I hope y'all enjoyed. I know it's long, but I felt like I just needed to get this off my chest and tell y'all guys how real God is. And I pray that if you get this feeling that you need to go do something, and you keep on having this overwhelming sense of peace with it, it's from God. And he wants you to act on it now.